Did you know that there are messages from Mary that have not yet been revealed to the world? And what might they have to do with the difficult times we are living through now? Perhaps you've never stopped to think about it, but something profound is about to be revealed. The secret testimony of a Medjugorje visionary reveals a hidden side of Mary's apparitions. Something that goes beyond the words everyone already knows. What if I told you that these unspoken messages carry a transformative power and urgency that few can imagine? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover may surprise you. Mary's apparitions, which many know through her calls to prayer, fasting, and conversion, possess a dimension few dare touch. But it is precisely this secret dimension that brings answers to the times of anguish we live in. It's not just about signs, but about a profound spiritual path that Mary has guided for those willing to listen. When you look at the world today, it seems like it's in constant turmoil. Natural disasters, social and spiritual crises, and even the growing sense that we're on the verge of something big and transformative. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever wondered what's behind it all? Mary's messages, particularly those that have been preserved, reveal something essential about the times we live in. Something that, according to the accounts of Medjugorje visionaries, can prepare us for the spiritual and existential challenges that lie ahead. We are being called to a spiritual awakening, but this call is not for everyone. Only those who are ready to listen and transform will understand the profound meaning of these messages. The truth is that Mary has not only warned but also guided those who listen to her, offering them the spiritual weapons necessary to face the days of anguish that, according to the prophecies, are coming. Now, you may be wondering, but how does all this connect to me? The answer lies in the revelation of a secret message, not yet shared with the general public. That will make you see reality in a completely different way. Soon, you will learn details that will change your perspective on faith, spirituality, and the end times. But before we continue, I want you to prepare to delve into a testimony that many consider unprecedented, and that may awaken in you a new understanding of what is really happening. Stay with me, because what Mary revealed may not only change your perspective on today's times, but also your spiritual journey. Now, let's enter this mystery together, and the best is yet to come. As we continue this journey together, reflecting on Mary's secret messages, I want you to consider the impact these teachings can have on your life. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below with what has touched you most so far, your experience, your perspective, even your questions. All of this is important because by sharing, you contribute to this exchange of wisdom that is fundamental to our spiritual evolution. Like the video, as it will help more people discover these messages, which are essential for the times we live. Your participation here is not only a way to show support, but also to help this channel grow and reach more souls who need to be touched by these revelations. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, take this opportunity to do so and turn on notifications. Each new subscriber is like a new beacon of hope, a new person willing to listen and act on the messages we're sharing. This helps us continue to bring you more content that speaks directly to the hearts of those seeking true transformation. Now, follow me on this journey. What follows will further deepen the mystery and understanding of what Mary revealed. Stay tuned, for what you discover now may be the key to understanding everything that is happening around you, and how we can prepare spiritually for what is to come. Medjugorje, perhaps you've heard of it, or perhaps the name is still a mystery to you, but what I want to share now isn't just about a place, but about one of the most fascinating and profound points in contemporary spiritual history. Medjugorje in Bosnia and Herzegovina is a place where heaven tangibly touched earth. It was there that, in 1981, a group of young visionaries began receiving messages from Mary, the mother of Jesus. Messages that have transformed and continue to transform the lives of thousands of people around the world. But what most people don't know is that there are revelations that still remain hidden, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. What happened in Medjugorje was not an isolated event or simply a once-in-a-lifetime mystical phenomenon. Rather, it was a series of apparitions that continued to have a profound impact on the lives of those who allow themselves to be open to the truth hidden behind these messages. We are talking about a prophetic vision, a divine warning about the times we live in and what awaits us in the future. You may be wondering, but why would Mary choose to reveal something so important? And why hasn't this mystery been fully revealed to the world yet? Here comes one of the most intriguing aspects of Medjugorje. The messages Mary conveyed weren't just for those visionaries or the small group of people who visited the site. They are intended for all of us, but few people truly understand their depth. Some of these messages were meant to be kept hidden for a longer time, until the time came when humanity was ready to hear and understand. This is one of Medjugorje's greatest secrets, and that's exactly what we're discussing today. Because what Mary revealed in these messages may be exactly what you and I need to understand our spiritual journey and the times we're living through. Apparitions in Medjugorje began with a promise. Mary would come to guide us, to warn us, to help us find our way back to God's heart. But these revelations didn't just come as heavenly advice. They were deeply connected to what was to come, the spiritual challenges and times of trial that would come, the times of anguish that many prophets spoke of. What's most curious, and at the same time most alarming, is that Mary's messages, especially those that haven't been made public, indicate that we are living in these times now. The difficulties we face in our personal lives, in our society, and in our world are clear signs that what was prophesied is beginning to unfold before our eyes. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because what follows is revealing and impactful. Amidst all this, the unrevealed messages of Medjugorje speak of an inner transformation that each of us needs to undergo. Mary calls us to a true conversion, not just of words, but of actions, attitudes, and decisions. We're not talking about a simple change of mindset, but a radical transformation of our way of seeing the world and our faith. And this transformation, according to the messages of Medjugorje, is directly linked to our preparation for the days of anguish that Mary foresaw. What Mary revealed was more than just a prediction. It was a call to action, an invitation to align ourselves with the divine plan and begin living more authentically and in tune with the spirituality she proposes to us. This involves abandoning old habits, ancient fears, and ways of thinking that distance us from true faith and true peace. The reality we are living in, the turmoil that surrounds us, is a reflection of an ever-increasing distance from the hidden truth left to us by Mary. And most importantly, these messages of Medjugorje are not just a reflection of a distant future. They are happening here and now. What Mary revealed to us, silently and often hidden, is the key to navigating these difficult times and finding true peace. The connection between what was revealed in Medjugorje and today's spiritual challenges is no mere coincidence. We are being called to understand and apply these messages to our lives. By doing so, we will not only prepare ourselves spiritually for times of anguish, but also open doors to profound inner transformation. And this requires courage. Courage to accept that our mindset, often shaped by external influences, needs to be renewed. Courage to face the hidden truth, which may be uncomfortable, but which prepares us for something much greater. Now, with all this in mind, I'll leave you with a profound reflection. Medjugorje teaches us that, although difficulties are inevitable, they can also be a path to our purification and spiritual growth. And you? Are you ready for this transformation? Are you willing to live according to what Mary revealed to us? If this topic resonated with you, comment here. I'm ready for this transformation. The visionaries of Medjugorje are not merely passive figures in a spiritual event. They are messengers, true conduits of Mary's words, those who bring to light what many of us never imagined possible. In 1981, when the first apparitions began, a group of 6 young women had the opportunity to experience the extraordinary, seeing Mary up close, speaking to her, and receiving direct revelations. But what truly makes this phenomenon so impressive are not the apparitions themselves, but the messages they bring, messages that speak of an uncertain future, of spiritual and physical challenges that humanity would face. And the most mysterious thing of all, some of these messages have never been shared with the world, remaining silent, awaiting the right moment to be revealed. The role of visionaries goes much deeper than simply being a witness to something mystical. They have the responsibility to convey these messages to the world, but also to carry the weight of a truth that, in many cases, is not ready to be heard. The messages they received are not simple spiritual advice or conventional warnings, but divine instructions of a degree of urgency that calls us to action. They are messages of conversion, repentance, and preparation for a reality that, in some way, we all begin to perceive, but few have the courage to face. These visionaries were given the mission to reveal something beyond the ordinary, something that touches the depths of the human soul. And it is this that, over the years, has transformed the lives of thousands of people. But there is something even more mysterious about the Medjugorje apparitions. The visionaries not only heard Mary's words, but were directly challenged by these messages to live a life of renunciation, radical faith, and constant spiritual vigilance. This is not something learned easily. It is a journey of intense inner transformation. What Mary revealed to them was not just a divine message for the faithful, but a warning to themselves, challenging them to remain faithful to their mission, even when the weight of this responsibility seemed great to bear. Therefore, when we speak of the Medjugorje visionaries, we are not just talking about women fortunate enough to see Mary. We are talking about people who received a cosmic mission, a life mission that demands courage, purity, and unwavering devotion. They underwent immense trials, not only spiritual but also physical and emotional, as preparation for the moment the world still has to face. But their greatest challenge lies not only in revealing the messages, but in maintaining the integrity of their personal experiences without allowing themselves to be contaminated by external pressures, fear, or doubt. Each of them has a personal story, deeply touched by the mission they received. They faced questions, criticism, and even the fear of being misunderstood, but they maintained the faith that what they were doing was part of a greater divine plan. The visionaries are like beacons, illuminating the path for all of us, even if we cannot clearly see what lies ahead. They invite us to reflect on our own spiritual journey, challenging us to abandon the certainties we hold about life and open our hearts to a deeper, more mysterious reality. The revelations they received speak of times of tribulation and anguish, but also of redemption, hope, and the strength that arises from unshakable faith. Each of the messages Mary conveyed to them contains a key, a powerful tool for those who have the courage to use it to transform their lives. Now, it's important to understand that these revelations aren't just for those who have visited Medjugorje or for those who firmly believe in the apparition. They are universal, applicable to all of us, regardless of our faith or spiritual journey. The impact of these messages is so profound that they have been a guide for people seeking to understand the spiritual challenges of the modern world. At a time when faith seems to be increasingly challenged and often forgotten, if these messages hadn't been conveyed by these visionaries, many of us would never have even begun to question the spiritual direction we are heading. The mystery lies in knowing that these messages cannot be fully revealed now, that there is something in each of them that still needs to be fulfilled, and that perhaps only when we are ready will we fully understand what Mary truly meant. And it is this understanding, this hidden key, that can guide us on the path we are traveling, helping us discern truth amidst the chaos, finding peace in times of turmoil. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because what follows will touch on one of the most sensitive points of these revelations. The impact of these messages lies not only in their warnings, but in the transformation they invite us to experience. Comment below. I'm on this journey too. Mary said, I am with you until the end of the age. These words resonate in the hearts of those who hear them, but what do they really mean? How is it possible that such a simple promise can carry such great weight, capable of affecting the course of our history, our faith, and our own spiritual journey? If we analyze these words more closely, we see that Mary is not just offering comfort, but warning. She is preparing us for something that, as a society, we don't want to face, but which is about to happen. This promise from Mary goes beyond what we understand as a simple, comforting presence. By saying, I will be with you until the end of time, Mary not only reaffirms her unconditional love for us, but also warns us of the turbulent times to come. These times, which are already underway, are not just moments of crisis or personal pain, but of a global transformation, affecting every aspect of our existence, from faith to our very mindset, and demanding from us a profound and true spiritual preparation. What did Mary want to tell us with this? The answer isn't immediate, because she's not referring to a physical presence, but to something much more powerful and subtle. She's referring to the constant spiritual support that guides us in the battle against the forces of evil, against the temptations that distance us from God. In her messages, she warns us that, although humanity is increasingly moving away from true faith, she will be there, offering a path of light, conversion, and redemption. Mary knows we are at a decisive moment. She knows we are living in times that demand clear choices, decisions of spiritual life or death, and her promise is that, despite the difficulties we will face, she will be by our side, guiding and warning us before it's too late. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because what Mary revealed next is not just a message of hope, but a true call to action. When she said she would be with us until the end of time, she also gave us a mission: to prepare ourselves, listen to her messages, and, above all, follow the guidance she has given us. This is not just spiritual advice, it is an instruction to protect us from the anxieties of the future, to avoid the spiritual blindness that many of us are already experiencing, often without realizing it. The first secret message of Medjugorje speaks precisely to this. It speaks of an urgent warning, of a necessary inner preparation to face the approaching spiritual crisis. Mary asks us to turn to prayer, fasting, and the conversion of our hearts. She calls us to a return to the essential, pure, and true faith, far from the distractions and false paths that distance us from God. And the most striking thing is that she doesn't just speak about a distant future. She is speaking to us about the present. What is about to happen is not a future and distant event, but something we are beginning to experience now, in our own reality. These words of Mary, these promises, should not be seen as mere consolation in difficult times, but as a warning to prepare ourselves spiritually. What she is saying is that by turning to her, by listening to her messages, by following her teachings, we will be able to face any adversity that may come. Because, although times of anguish are inevitable, Mary's spiritual protection will be with us, offering the necessary strength to not succumb to despair, doubt, or loss of faith. Throughout all the apparitions in Medjugorje, Mary has tirelessly repeated this: prepare yourselves, my people. What is coming cannot be avoided, but it can be overcome by those who are spiritually prepared. And how can we prepare ourselves? The answer lies in our daily choices. It lies in how we choose to live our faith, how we choose to draw closer to God, how we choose to fight against the corruption of the soul that modern society so often imposes on us. This preparation begins within each of us. It's not something we can simply wait for to happen from the outside in, but but something that needs to be cultivated within ourselves, in silence, prayer, and constant reflection. The transformation Mary proposes to us is not external, but internal. She wants to help us rediscover what truly matters, our spiritual essence, our true mission here on earth. Now, with this in mind, it's essential that we remember that Mary's promise to be with us until the end of time isn't just a pretty phrase. It's an invitation for us to join her on her journey of faith, guiding us along a path of light amidst the darkness. If this resonates with you, comment below. That resonates with me. The first secret message of Medjugorje is perhaps one of the most urgent and, at the same time, most mysterious. Mary didn't come just to bring comfort or simply to warn us about the difficulties the world faces. She came with a warning message, a call that we all, in some way, need to hear. She spoke of an impending spiritual crisis, a crisis that is already beginning to manifest itself in various ways in the world around us. But what does this really mean? How does this crisis present itself? And, most importantly, what is our role in it? Mary warned us that as the world moves away from true faith, more and more souls will be seduced by false paths, by ideologies that seek to distort the truth. We are not talking just about major political or social crises, but about a true spiritual battle. This is an invisible war that directly affects our minds, our hearts, and, above all, our connection with God. The first secret message draws our attention to the importance of preserving our faith, of not giving in to the temptations of a world increasingly materialistic and distant from spiritual values. Get ready, because this revelation will shake your vision of the future. What Mary revealed is that the spiritual crisis we are experiencing today is not an isolated phenomenon. It is just the beginning of something much larger, something that will affect all of us, regardless of our beliefs or background. We are not talking about a distant future, but something that is already happening now, silently, almost imperceptibly. Have you noticed how, increasingly, people are distanced from true spirituality? How false promises and existential emptiness are becoming increasingly present in our society? This spiritual crisis is present in every corner, in every decision we make, in our way of life, in our way of seeing the world, and, above all, in our relationship with God. But what really makes this message so powerful and urgent? Mary isn't just telling us to observe what's happening around us. She gives us a clear instruction. It is our responsibility, as children of God, to respond to this spiritual crisis. We cannot be passive in the face of everything that is happening. What Mary asked us was to take action, to prepare ourselves spiritually, because the crisis will not go unnoticed. It will affect all of us in some way, whether through personal trials, family crises, health problems, or even situations that will destabilize our society. The question is, how will we respond? How can we, individually, protect ourselves and, at the same time, help others protect themselves as well? The role of each of us, according to Mary's message, is to be a light in the midst of darkness. This means that, while many may be swept away by the current of materialism and selfishness, those who maintain their faith and seek to live a purer life, more connected to God, will be the pillars of support in this time of spiritual anguish. Mary is not asking us to be perfect, but to turn to God with sincerity, humility, and the intention of seeking truth amidst the confusion. The warning, therefore, is for us to start acting now. We cannot wait for the crisis to worsen to make decisions that could change the course of our spiritual lives. The first secret message challenges us to look within ourselves and question our own choices, our priorities, and our relationship with the divine. Are we living according to the values Mary taught us, or are we allowing ourselves to be influenced by the distractions and falsehoods of the world? Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because what Mary revealed goes beyond a simple warning. The spiritual crisis she predicted is not just about what will happen in the future, but about what is already happening now, in the hearts of each of us. What is truly at stake is not just external events, but our ability to maintain faith and spiritual integrity in a world that increasingly challenges us to abandon our true essence. Mary's first secret message teaches us that our response to this spiritual crisis will define our destiny, both personally and collectively. It is not a matter of physical survival, but of spiritual survival. And by keeping our faith steadfast, we will be able to help others find their way back to the light. Comment there, I'm on this journey too. Mary warned of days of great difficulty to come, and these are not just ordinary difficulties. She spoke of something much deeper, a spiritual battle that would involve us in ways few people could comprehend until they actually experienced it. What we are experiencing today, all over the world, is a manifestation of this prophecy. When Mary referred to times of trouble, she wasn't just talking about external difficulties, like natural disasters or social crises. She was referring to an internal struggle, a battle for our faith, for our connection with God, and for our true spiritual essence. We live in difficult times. The fear, uncertainty, and trials that arise each day seem to be signs that what Mary foretold is already underway. But it's not just physical suffering. The true anguish lies in our minds, in our souls. in how we deal with the pressures of the modern world and how this pressure distances us from our true essence. Distractions multiply, false promises spread like wildfire, and many end up turning away from what is eternal in pursuit of fleeting things. What Mary revealed to us is not only a reflection of the difficulties we face, but the deeper reason for these difficulties. We are being tested spiritually. She warns us that the greatest challenge will not be facing external tribulations, but resisting the temptation to lose our faith, to stray from God's ways in a world that constantly invites us to take shortcuts, to choose ease over truth. External difficulties are merely a reflection of a much greater internal struggle, a struggle for our mindset, our beliefs, our trust in God. How are we responding to this? What are we doing to keep our faith firm as the waves of the world try to drag us away from what is eternal? Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the prophecy of the days of trouble speaks not only of suffering, but also of the power to overcome it. Mary came not only to warn us about difficulties, but to show us that there is a path, a spiritual path, that can protect and guide us through this storm. She invited us to strengthen ourselves in prayer, fasting, meditation, and, above all, in returning to genuine faith. The real battle we are fighting is for our souls, for our ability to maintain hope in times of crisis. This spiritual crisis is not a distant future. It is happening now, in every choice we make, in every moment we decide to give in to the world's pressure or turn to God. Mary said that many would fall away from the faith, but she also assured us that those who remain steadfast will be protected. But how can we remain steadfast if the world around us is so full of distractions and falsehoods? The answer lies in looking within ourselves, in finding peace in our relationship with God, in strengthening our spiritual mindset so that, even in the face of anguish, we can find the strength to endure. She also spoke to us about the fruits of this spiritual battle. It's not just about resisting evil, but about the transformation that this resistance brings. Every moment of faith, every decision to follow Mary's teachings, every prayer offered with sincerity is a step toward our true transformation. This is the promise behind the prophecy of the days of trouble, that, though the struggle may be difficult, the end result will be a purified soul, stronger, closer to God. We are being shaped by these difficulties, and true victory will be our ability to remain steadfast in faith and allow God to guide us to ultimate victory. Now, think about this for a moment. When you look at the times we are living in, how are you reacting? Are you giving in to anguish and fear, or are you standing firm in your faith, trusting that something greater is being revealed through these trials? Mary's invitation is for us to prepare, to be vigilant and resilient, because the times of anguish she foresaw are not just a warning, but a call to become stronger spiritually, to draw closer to God. Comment there. I'm on this journey too. The second secret message of Medjugorje is one of the most powerful and, at the same time, challenging. Mary not only warned us about times of anguish, but also offered us a fundamental key to getting through them: inner transformation. She spoke of something that goes far beyond simple external changes, such as material hardships or the political crises we are experiencing. She spoke of a spiritual revolution that, ultimately, is the only thing that can save us from the turmoil of the end times. Mary told us that to survive the spiritual and social challenges that lie ahead, it is essential that we undergo a profound inner transformation. This doesn't just refer to changing the way we act or behave externally, but to a true revolution of the heart and mind. We are being called to a change of mindset, to abandon old habits and thought patterns that distance us from true faith and the divine purpose God has for each of us. This transformation will not be easy. It requires courage, discipline, and total surrender to the divine plan. The world around us is constantly changing, and many of these changes are not merely superficial. We live in a time where values are constantly being challenged, where old certainties are dissolving, and where faith seems increasingly difficult to sustain. Temptations and distractions are immense, and the pressure to conform to the world's norms can be overwhelming. However, Mary's message is clear. True transformation begins within us, in the way we relate to God, to others, and even to ourselves. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because this inner transformation is not an abstract concept, or something we can postpone. Mary calls us to a daily commitment, a conscious decision to place God at the center of our lives, to allow Him to guide us and transform us into His image and likeness. This requires us to leave behind our insecurities, fears, and attachments, and surrender ourselves wholeheartedly to God's will. Spiritual transformation requires patience, but more than that, it demands action. The transformation Mary proposes to us is also a struggle against the ego, against that part of us that wants to control everything, that wants to follow the easy path, the path of instant gratification. In contrast, spiritual transformation requires discipline, prayer, fasting, and, above all, a constant renewal of our mind and heart. Mary calls us to look within ourselves and identify everything that needs purification, everything that is keeping us from true spiritual freedom. This message of transformation isn't something that will happen instantly or magically. It's an ongoing process, a long journey that requires dedication and persistence. But as we make this decision to transform ourselves internally, we begin to notice significant changes as we move away from the distractions and false promises of the world. We begin to draw closer to the true peace that can only come from a genuine connection with God. Inner transformation is the only thing that can give us the strength to face the challenges that lie ahead. Each of us plays an essential role in this transformation process. No matter how turbulent the world is or the challenges we face, inner transformation is key to surviving it all. When we can turn to God and allow Him to change us, we begin to live more fully, more aligned with His divine purpose for us. This gives us the strength to deal with external difficulties because our spiritual foundation will be firm, unshakable. Mary, by alerting us to this need for transformation, reminds us that we are not alone in this process. She will be with us, interceding for us, guiding us through her messages, teaching us the path of true conversion. But, most importantly, she challenges us not to be passive in the face of the difficult times that lie ahead. She calls us to concrete action, to a commitment to our own spiritual transformation. Now, reflect on this. How can you begin to apply this inner transformation to your life? What needs to change in your heart, your mind, and your daily attitudes? The answer lies not in grand external actions, but in small daily gestures of faith, prayer, and humility. Every decision we make toward inner transformation brings us closer to God and strengthens us to face the challenges that lie ahead. Comment there, that makes sense to me. Mary always spoke about the importance of being attentive to the signs that would come before the Great Awakening, signs that would prepare us for the necessary transformation in our hearts and lives. She told us that both heaven and earth would give us signs, and that it would not be difficult to perceive when this moment arrived. What is curious, and perhaps even alarming, is that many of these signs are already being experienced and witnessed in our daily lives. The tension in the world, the conflicts, the natural disasters, all these are manifestations of the words Mary left us. The heavens and the earth have been our greatest warnings. When we speak of signs in the heavens, we are not just referring to astronomical phenomena, but to a deeper field of spiritual interpretation. The appearance of stars, comets, or even unusual weather patterns can be seen as reflections of a larger movement unfolding in the heart of humanity. These signs are not mere coincidences or events that arise by chance. They are markers of something greater, of a global spiritual shift that is about to intensify. In recent years, natural cataclysms have become increasingly frequent and intense. Earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, wildfires, droughts, and other disasters seem to have increased in frequency and severity. Some might argue that this is simply a result of climate change, but is there something deeper going on? Maria spoke of these disasters as signs of a greater imbalance, not only in our relationship with nature, but also in our relationship with the divine. These signs are not just a punishment, but an invitation for us to awaken, to rethink our relationship with the world and with God. The earth is crying out for healing, and how we respond to these calamities will be fundamental to our spiritual transformation. But the signs are not limited to the physical world. They are also reflected in the tensions we see growing in human and social relations. The growing polarization, the endless conflicts, the separation between people and nations, all of this points to a spiritual disconnect. We are moving away from each other and from our own essence, and this is manifesting in the world around us. Mary, in warning us about these signs, was not just talking about cataclysms or dramatic events. She was speaking about a global state of mind, a state of alienation and distance from God that we needed to correct before it was too late. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the signs Mary mentioned play a crucial role in our spiritual journey. They are not just a reflection of what is happening in the world, but a call to action. It's not just about passively observing the events around us, but about asking ourselves what we are doing with these signs. What are we learning from the difficulties we face? How can we transform these signs into a turning point in our lives and our faith? Mary gives us a clue. The Great Awakening will not come if we are not prepared to respond to the signs that are being given. This preparation cannot be done superficially or hurriedly. It requires deep reflection, a change in how we see the world, and, above all, an inner transformation. The signs Mary left us are not a prediction for the distant future, but an invitation to transformation that begins within us. Now, every natural cataclysm, every tension in the world, every human crisis is a reflection of our collective inner state. How can we hope for a more peaceful and harmonious world if we do not work on inner peace and reconciliation with God? How can we seek to heal the planet if we do not seek to heal our own souls? These signs are a reminder that something greater is at stake. We are being invited to awaken to a deeper reality, to realize that every action we take, every decision we make, has an impact not only on our lives but on the world around us. Mary warns us that if we are not attentive to these signs, we will be missing the opportunity to prepare for the times to come. Change begins within us, in how we react to the signs around us, and how we choose to live in a way more aligned with divine purposes. Comment there. I'm paying attention to the signs. Mary always emphasized the importance of prayer and fasting. In her messages, for her, these two spiritual pillars are the most powerful weapons we have against the forces of evil, which act invisibly but destructively in our lives. Prayer and fasting are not just religious practices, they are spiritual tools of profound transformation. They are ways to connect with the divine and, at the same time, to ward off the negative influences that try to distance us from God and our true mission. Prayer, according to Mary, is not just a request for help, but an intimate conversation with God, a moment in which we open ourselves to His guidance, His strength, and His love. When we pray, we are not just asking for something, but aligning ourselves with divine will. We are strengthening ourselves, not only in our own strength, but in the spiritual forces that sustain us. Prayer allows us to see beyond what is before our eyes. It connects us to something greater, to a divine plan that we often cannot perceive without this direct channel to heaven. But prayer cannot be superficial or done merely out of habit. Mary calls us to pray with our hearts, with our souls, with all our sincerity. Prayer is a way to remain firm in faith, to remain alert, while the world around us tries to lead us away from the truth. But what about fasting? Fasting, according to Mary, is not just a form of physical discipline or a sacrifice to purify the body, but a powerful tool for purifying the soul. It teaches us to say no to material and selfish desires, forcing us to look within ourselves and confront what dominates us. Fasting teaches us to master our impulses, to detach ourselves from the material world, and to focus on what is truly important, our relationship with God. It gives us clarity, helps us discern divine will, and strengthens our spirit against the temptations that surround us. When we fast, we are not only making a physical sacrifice, but we are creating space within ourselves for God to occupy a greater place. We are allowing ourselves to be more receptive to His presence and guidance. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the true strength that prayer and fasting can provide us goes far beyond simply helping us get through difficult times. They are tools of transformation. Prayer and fasting have the power to change us from the inside out. They are ways to align with the truth Mary revealed to us and to strengthen our ability to act according to divine teachings. They prepare us for times of anguish, enabling us to resist evil and remain steadfast in faith. But are we truly prepared to use these powerful tools? We live in a world where superficiality often dominates our spiritual lives. For many, prayer has become something done quickly, without true devotion, and fasting is often seen as a distant and difficult practice to implement. But Mary calls us to reverse this mindset. She summons us to return to the essentials, to rediscover the power of true prayer and fasting as tools of spiritual transformation. We are being challenged to look beyond the distractions and conveniences that modern society offers us, and to return to the roots of our faith, where prayer and fasting are essential. The spiritual transformation Mary asks of us cannot happen without true dedication to these practices. Prayer and fasting are, therefore, more than a simple religious duty. They are means of spiritual fortification that allow us to face the challenges of the world in a deeper way, and in a more connected way with God. Are we ready to embark on this path of profound transformation? Are we willing to give up our own comforts and surrender ourselves to a process of purification that can often be uncomfortable, but which is essential for our salvation? Now, think about this. How often have you prayed with the true intention of connecting with God and seeking His guidance? How often have you detached yourself from material pleasures to focus on your spirituality, as Mary teaches us? Prayer and fasting are not just religious practices, but powerful tools for personal transformation. When we dedicate ourselves to these practices with a sincere heart, we begin to notice significant changes in our spiritual life. They make us stronger, more centered, and better prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. Comment there. That makes sense to me. Mary's fourth message calls us to reflect deeply on the role of faith in our lives, especially in the most challenging moments. Mary spoke clearly about the importance of faith as a shield, a spiritual protection against the adversities we face, both personally and collectively. In times of crisis, when emotional and spiritual storms seem to consume us, faith is the only true refuge we can seek. She tells us that true faith is not just a superficial belief, but a profound strength that sustains us, strengthens us, and protects us against the onslaught of evil and hardship. In many situations, faith is tested to its limit. When everything around us seems to be falling apart, when pain and uncertainty take over, it's easy to succumb to fear, doubt, and hopelessness. But it is precisely in these moments that faith becomes our greatest ally. Mary, by calling us to renew our trust in God, challenges us not to allow life's difficulties to distance us from what truly matters. Faith, which we often take for granted in times of peace, reveals itself as our greatest strength when the winds of adversity blow strongest. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because the faith Mary teaches us is not a passive faith, but an active faith which demands action and commitment. Faith is not just a belief in something greater, but a daily choice, a decision to trust in God. Even when we cannot see the path ahead, in moments of crisis, when doubt tries to invade our minds and despair seems to lurk, true faith calls us to trust that God has a greater plan, that He is in control of all things, even when everything seems out of control. The renewal of faith that Mary asks of us is not something that happens automatically. It requires us to make a conscious effort to maintain our trust in God, especially when difficulties are great. Faith, like a shield, helps protect us from the impact of adversity, but also allows us to see beyond the immediate present. It gives us the ability to see the light at the end of the tunnel, to believe that, even in the darkest situations, there is a divine purpose at work. Faith does not eliminate difficulties, but it gives us the courage to face them with a strengthened heart, with the conviction that, in the end, we will be victorious. Mary, when speaking to us about faith as a refuge, is not saying that we need to have unshakable faith immediately, but rather that we must constantly work to strengthen our trust in God. We all experience moments of doubt and fragility, but it is our willingness to renew this faith, day after day, that enables us to endure difficulties and emerge stronger. In the end, true faith is not something we find only in moments of tranquility, but in moments of great crisis, when our trust in God is tested. Mary's fourth message is, therefore, a call to action. She calls us not only to believe, but to actively live our faith, to seek it as a refuge when things get difficult, and to trust in God unreservedly, even when everything around us tells us to give up. Mary knows that the world is going through times of great transformation and challenge, and the only way to face them with strength and courage is through a renewed and steadfast faith. But how can we renew this faith in times of crisis? How can we make it a safe haven amid life's storms? The key lies in our ability to surrender our fears, insecurities, and worries to God, fully trusting that He has a purpose for us, even in the most difficult situations. Renewing faith means letting go of control and constant worry about the future, and instead resting in the certainty that God is always with us, guiding, supporting, and strengthening us. Comment there. I'm on this journey to Mary's final revelation is undoubtedly one of the most powerful and hopeful she has brought us. After so many warnings about the difficult times ahead, about spiritual and social crises, she never failed to remind us that, for those who remain faithful, there will be a great reward in the end. But what does it mean to remain faithful in such a turbulent world, where attempts to distance us from the truth, to divert us from divine paths, are increasingly intense? Mary taught us that faithfulness is not just about following the rules, or keeping the commandments, but about keeping our connection with God intact, regardless of external circumstances. In a world where everything seems to be disintegrating, where spiritual values are constantly challenged, true faithfulness is that which arises from the heart, from a daily choice to trust God and follow His ways. It is not about living a perfect life, but about being faithful to the journey of transformation that God proposes to us. This faithfulness involves not being shaken by the winds of doubt, by the temptation to give in to conformity, or the search for easy solutions. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the fidelity Mary speaks of is not something simple or passive. She doesn't ask us to be faithful automatically, but challenges us to maintain faith in God in an active and transformative way. True fidelity, the kind Mary speaks of, requires courage to face challenges, to resist the pressures of the world, and to, even in the face of adversity, continue to believe that God has a purpose for our lives. This fidelity often manifests itself in the midst of trials, where the temptation to abandon faith is strong. But it is precisely in these moments that the reward Mary promises becomes most valuable. In a world like ours, where chaos often seems to prevail and difficulties seem endless, how can we remain faithful? Mary's answer lies in small, daily decisions, in continuing to pray, even when words seem to fall short, in maintaining trust in God, even when everything around us tells us to give up, in following the path of truth, even when it is arduous and lonely. Faithfulness is a daily choice, a decision to remain steadfast, knowing that despite the spiritual battles we face, there is a divine promise of reward for those who do not give up. This reward Mary mentions is not something material or fleeting, but something eternal. The great reward that awaits us is peace of mind, closeness to God, and the realization that, even in the midst of the storm, we were able to maintain our faith and follow the path of light. Faithfulness, then, is what allows us to navigate difficulties with hope, knowing that each step we take toward God brings us closer to this divine reward. But what Mary also tells us, subtly, is that this fidelity cannot be forced. It comes not from an effort to obey out of fear or obligation, but from a truly transformed heart. one that desires to follow God's will because it knows this is the only path to true peace. In a world where we are constantly bombarded by information, distractions, and empty promises, Mary calls us to turn our gaze to what truly matters, to that which is eternal and, in the end, our true reward. Now, reflecting on all this, I ask, how have you been living your faith? Are you following the path of faithfulness, even in the face of difficulties and temptations that arise? The faithfulness Mary speaks of is not a burden, but an opportunity to grow spiritually and draw closer to God. It is through this faithfulness that we find peace amidst chaos, hope amidst despair, and light at the end of the tunnel. Comment there. I'm on this journey too. Now, I want to know, what do you think about Mary's messages and their impact on our lives, especially given the turbulent times we are living in? Each of these messages, with their clarity and depth, challenges us to reflect on the spiritual path we are on and how we can prepare for the challenges that lie ahead. They speak not only to the heart, but to the soul, inviting us to a genuine transformation that goes far beyond superficial faith. What do these revelations mean to you? How have you responded to the signs Mary left us? And what, in your view, represents true fidelity in a world where the temptation to stray from the divine path is increasingly strong? Leave a comment below and share your reflections. Your words can inspire others to reflect as well, to strengthen their spiritual journey. What have you been doing to strengthen your faith and deal with the difficulties that arise in your life? How has your journey been in preparing for the times to come? Your participation is essential so that together we can create a community of faith and understanding, where Mary's messages can deepen and expand in each person's heart. I'm curious to know how you see these messages and how they connect with your spiritual life. And if this topic resonates with you, if it touched your heart in some way, I'd love for you to leave your mark in the comments. Let's continue this conversation and explore, together, the revelations Mary brought us, preparing us for the future. With greater clarity and purpose. Comment there. That makes sense to me. If you've made it this far, it's because this content truly resonated with you. I'm so happy we shared this journey together. If this video touched your heart, leave a comment saying I'm with you until the end, so I know you're on this journey of faith and reflection with me. And, if you feel this content was helpful for your journey, don't forget to like it. This helps keep the conversation alive and reach more people who, like you, seek to delve deeper into spirituality and the messages of Mary. Now, there's a video right here that complements everything we talked about and will help you follow this path even further. Click there and let's continue our conversation. I'll see you there.